while we were out fishing, I looked at the carpet. We were fishing at night, and it got dark. And I look at the carpet where the click lights in our tracker boat are, and there is 10,000 of those little ant bugs things with wings, and they're all like pressed up against that light, and they're all sitting there just light bathing, and it looked like the carpet was moving. It was disgusting, and they were all just dying. I don't know why they all died, but they all just died right there.
They clump up into little balls, and they actually overheat.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's what it is?
Yeah. Bees do that. When something goes into their hive or whatever, they'll like attack them, and they'll get a big ball, and they call it a murder ball, and it's several of the bees on the inside will die because of the heat that they generate, all in a, and they'll do that with like if a hornet or something gets in there.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I saw in the movie Ants.
Don't they do something like that to hornets? Like they get their wings going so much that it kills them somehow? Explain that.
Well, they all get in a big
No, explain it.
ball on top of them, covering them, and they're very sensitive apparently to heat and the heat they generate by all getting close together. I don't know if their wings are vibrating has something to do with it. Could be. Yeah. I just know that they murder ball intruders in their hives.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I did not know that.
Oh, now you know.
I'll continue, but I just wanted to. We were getting at 14 and everything.
Don't ever get the last word in again.
Ever again.
If you see me pausing, just stop.
just stop. I pause, you pause.
Well, anyhow, we see them all clumped up around the lights, and I'm like, why is this happening? And then that took me down a long road of wondering why all animals do weird things with light. Driving down in a car at night on the road, and a deer in the headlights will freeze, right? So why does that happen? And I guess so. To go through it, I figured out that the bugs is where I wanted to start. Is why bugs do it. So I'm gonna go through some of these and I'll read a couple of these things, but the truth is they have no idea why. They only have hypothesis on why bugs actually flock to light. So if you're at night, turn on a light, bugs are going to be all over it, and people talk about why. So one of the most popular theories is that bugs rely on light sources to guide their travels and movements. So what happens is they see a light, so they're like, oh, there's nothing in between me and that light. So I'm going to fly directly to it because nothing is blocking me. So there's no predators or nothing I could bump into.
Oh, okay.
But like when I say that, like my brain goes off like, yeah, but if they all come out at night, what do they care whether they're going to get bumped into stuff or not? Why you coming out at night then? Why are you doing that?
I've seen flies bump into a window, the same spot over and over and over and over again, and they don't mind that.
What movie was it that we went and saw? I threw up in the theater. But what movie was it that we went and saw? It was a scary movie where that person and is it Cloverfield? The one where all the plants are killing everybody. And
then that's The Happening.
The Happening.
Yeah.
With Mark Wahlberg.
Mark.
And he does that scene where he gets up to the plant. He's like, "Hey, I'm very sorry for interrupting you. I hope just please don't kill me."
No one can hear you as it is.
Oh, this is a fake plant.
Oh,
that's in the movie.
Yeah.
I was talking about the part where he walks up and that lady slams her head against it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like that's what the bee reminded me of.
That's M. Night Shyamalan.
That sounds right.
What did you think of The Village?
I haven't seen it since it first came out, and I remember not liking it, but that was the thing to do, so I haven't gone back since.
I remember having a deep appreciation for it. Totally got me.
A lot of people do.
It got me. You can't watch it twice. There's no point. I mean, you could now.
The first time you see it, it's got that surprise factor, but you're kind of expecting it from an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Right.
But I would say that several of the actors definitely carried it. Like you got William Hurt, you got Bryce
Howard,
Dallas.
She's in that?
Yeah, I think so. She was the blind.
Oh, that's awesome.
The daughter, I think.
Yeah.
But several good actors in that movie. But I don't. If you put the wrong actors in it, I could see it just being.
Which is Yeah, the thing to do was to hate on it back in the day. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to the insect part. So insects like moths and just different insects and bugs like that are attracted to light in general, whereas bugs like cockroaches try and get away from light. So there is something to that, but again, they think they're using it as like a guiding tool to get there, and then when they get there, they're confused because they can, because the light comes out in every direction, they either think it's the moon or the sun, but because the light isn't coming from one direction, it confuses them. So once they get close to the light, the beams are going in every direction, and they can't get a fix on what that is. And they said that they believe that they actually show signs of frustration. And that's like they're frustrated.
I can imagine that would be pretty frustrating.
Yeah. So
why can't I get to this thing?
So that's interesting. What this article says is, unfortunately, when they come across artificial light, insects can become confused easily. They may mistake the light fixture for the sun or the moon. Rather than keeping a natural light source as a guide, these insects instead try to keep the artificial light at a constant angle, which can't be done because it's pushed in every direction versus coming from the sun. So scientists have come up with many other ideas that might explain insects, like light-loving behavior. For example, some believe man-made lights merely light a clear path, which I had mentioned, and rather than flying around in the dark trying to avoid things, they just use that light as the path. Other scientists believe some insects may mistake artificial lights for flowers. Now, flowers give off UV light, obviously with the reflection. So they may mistake them for flowers, and they're just trying to land on them. I don't think that's the...
I guess in the dark, if that's the only thing you see, you're like, wow, that flower looks great.
Right.
That is one sexy looking flower. I mean, look how bright it is.
I'll go.
It's
check
kind
it out.
hot.
It kind of reminds me of like the lures for fishing, where they have like the glow in the dark lures, and they work, but it's like, why? Like
They do work.
yeah, and
Oh,
they
wow.
haven't seen something glow in the dark ever. You know what I mean? But
That's true.
That reminds me of.
you're gonna tell the frog story.
Yep, we went to this lake and caught like 30, 40 of these real little frogs right down by the lake. We're like, these will be perfect for using for bait. And you put a little hook in them, throw them out in the water, and we get them all, and we go back to get the fishing, the rods and whatever, and we go in first. We have food. We come back out, and my dad had dumped the bucket and let all the frogs go. And I go, why would you do that? He goes, well, you had all these little frogs in here. They're just mind their own business. You can't just. I figure you being kids, you just forget it. They're there, and then So I just dumped them out. So we're going to use them for fishing. He goes, fish wouldn't know what to do with that. Do they see frogs? All the fish aren't or frogs aren't swimming out into the middle of the lake, so you're not going to see a frog. I go, that you could say the same thing about worms.
Right.
They don't see
They're on the ground.
earthworms, but they go to town on earthworms. So
And they'll eat spit. So
Yeah.
what are we talking about?
and we had caught one real big, I don't know if it was a frog or a toad. I was like, well, whatever, we're not going to fish now. So I threw it out in the water, and it barely hit the water, and a fish already went.
Yeah.
Like-
Where was Scott?
You tell a frog story.
What an idiot! I knew it was coming. That's like one of his. He's got 7 that go-tos.
Oh, he's got a lot.
Not it.
Yeah.
55% of all
It's 60%.
males over the age of
It's
55.
60%.
Oh, it's age of 55.
You got it wrong.
could've
I'm
kept
sorry.
going.
No, why don't you go ahead and tell
I
it?
could have told this frog story verbatim. But so anyhow, moving on from the bugs, one more thing on them though is that another theory is that a lot of the predatory bugs move into the lights because they know all the other bugs do, so they go in there just for the sake of grabbing things.
Okay.
I could understand spiders setting up webs around. There's always
That
seems
would
to be
be
spider
smart.
webs around
they
lights
do.
and things like that. But start giving them a lot of credit for thinking. I don't know. I also wonder if the heat of the light has anything to do with it. Probably
Could
not.
be.
Though. Could be. But why would that bring it from a distance?
Light is
though?
usually a source of potential heat.
And they're
so-
not thinking.
And when it's dark, it's usually colder, so they're looking for heat.
So the next thing that led me in my search of understanding light and why animals do what they do, I think we're all allergic to Jeff. It's fine.
It's all good.
Did you get another cat? Ryan did. Ryan's got cats in his house now.
I haven't had
got
a
a cat house.
Yeah.
He's trying to, and he's already a cat person that tries to sell you on the fact that his house doesn't smell like a cat house though. It's like,
And they're cool cats.
yeah,
and-
yeah. I normally don't like cats, but this cat, everybody says that. I'm so tired of it. They're not good pets.
While I was still living with my parents, they had 2 cats, and I would probably say the same thing about not one of them. One of the cats was a little jerk, but one of the cats was pretty cool.
Who, Fingers?
No, Duke.
Oh,
Yeah. Duke was like a dog. He would just follow you around.
I saw Duke Shart.
I bet you did.
Yeah, I mean, it was like his thing. I'm not
He
kidding.
got old. He-
Yeah,
my
he
God.
was. So the next thing was deer. Is obviously that's another thing that you always see. Why is it that when a deer stops in the headlights, they freeze. Like whenever, when you're hunting at night and you're spotlighting. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That's illegal. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But why do they do that? And they freeze. So I did some research in understanding how the eyesight works. So I didn't know this, but there's a difference between cones and rods in how you see.
Yep.
So humans have a lot more cones, which makes it so that we're able to see a lot more in lighted situations. And at night, we're not able to see as well. Deer have a lot more rods in their eye. And because they have so many more rods, they're able to see really, really well in low light and even at night. Now, that's how they process light. So what happens is when you're hitting them with the headlights, it's like their eyes are completely blown out, overexposed, and they're waiting for them to adjust.
Oh, they can't see anything.
No, they're just waiting for them to adjust.
Okay.
So they're freezing until they can see again.
Yeah.
And then that's why they actually freeze in the lights.
Huh.
But I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it also kind of makes sense because anytime a deer sees something it doesn't know what it is, it just
Yeah.
and it'll sit and stare at it. And then I bet if you weren't driving, if you just stopped and had your headlights on them, eventually they would do the pick up a foot and put it down,
Oh yeah.
or the
Yeah, that's my thing.
you're trying to catch you moving.
Give them
I
the
tried to do
brat.
I tried to do the noise the other day.
You got to do it with your nose, but I'm just worried.
Because you are.
Yeah, it's you don't want to schnoz.
Yeah.
But yeah, the grunt that they make is something else. But moving on to the next thing. So then I was like, okay, what's another thing that reacts to light that I like to know about? And people in some states, it's legally allowed to go out and hunt for frogs using lights. And if you shine a light on a frog, they'll freeze, and you reach around back behind them and grab them.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's how a lot of people go
I
frog
didn't- I didn't
gigging,
know that.
and they use the lights gigging. Yeah, and then that's what
A-O-G.
I think it's illegal in Michigan. I think it's illegal to use light. I could be wrong. It was illegal
It is
at
illegal
some
to
point when we
use
were.
light, but you can, I believe, gig for them.
Yeah, but I'm talking about light. The whole story, the podcast name, everything's light. Light.
Yeah, but you said gigging, and then you said I believe it's illegal in Michigan, so I was just clarifying that you
Yeah,
can. Gig,
so
you
with
just can't
lights.
use light. Though.
Because we're talking about light.
Yeah.
So
Follow the light.
in trying to understand that, nobody had an answer for that.